Okay, so now we're talking about image creation. So we're talking about our sort of outdoor poster, billboard type of images. To make these, again, you can use Pexels and Pixabay, both too similar to remember clearly, for your sort of stock images. Of course, you could, if you're especially arty, take your phone or a nice camera if you have one out and take really good shots of what you want particularly, but it's quite possible to sort of create a really professional look without necessarily producing your own content, but of course that makes it a lot more interesting for you and a little bit more real world, I guess. So to make images, Canva is really good and Spark is also really good. So both of these you could make a whole set of designs. So you could make one that was, suitable for Twitter, so sort of more of a vertical, maybe Instagram as well. They all have slightly different video proportions. You could do kind of like a more full poster, which again is different dimensions. And I'll kind of show you what each of these looks like. The obvious choice is PowerPoint. If you've used PowerPoint a fair bit, you might be able to get a reasonably professional looking image out of it, but it's a little bit harder just as a result of the way that it works and the way that it's focused on information rather than sleek images and designs. Okay, so this is Canva. As you can see, I only use it for quite nerdy teachery stuff, but like this one might have some examples in it. So I've sort of developed the one theme using a different background and then different questions. So different ideas. I really like that image, so obviously I've imported that from somewhere else. So again, you can see lots of nerdy stuff about Macbeth and those sort of things. To upload images and videos, you can basically just drag it into there or click the upload an image or video button. Photos, if you want to use their photos, this is actually where it gets a little bit tricky. You can see these photos are free, but if you go and develop a template, so if we pick a new template from here, or actually let me pick a different one. If we go to here, when you see that symbol, Canva, and the sort of crossed little lines, that means that it will ask you to pay. So when we go to download, it will say, okay, pay and download, because it wants us to pay for this image, which costs money because someone's taken it and it's a very nice image. In theory, now it'll let us download for free because we haven't stolen anyone's copyright, so to speak. But as I just said, you could, for example, upload a different image in there, and then that way, we'll put company name, for example. Again, that's not going to cost us any money because we've put that in. And of course, you can download these. It'll take a little while, but you can download it in a range of different formats: PDF, HTML, JPEG, whatever you prefer. Anything else that I need to tell you? It's really useful to just use their sort of templated text, so because it's quite easy to use a range of different fonts that don't really fit together just because you think that they look cool, but that's a pretty quick way to sort of ruin something that should look good. So if you put in any random text, it should carry over. So if we change it, it'll keep our water.com, water is health, and you can kind of get an idea of what it might look like in different layouts. So try not to think of, that you'll exactly recreate this exact template, but think of it more, how much text do you need and how much space do you need for images, and kind of, do you want it to be minimalist like these images here, or do you want it to be quite complicated or just quite sort of moody. The most important thing, the thing that you'll pick up from theirs, is that they all use different forms of transparency to make it look cool, and they also use a little bit of kind of color filtering, so you might want to play around with that. That's how you go from sort of something you could do in PowerPoint to something that looks quite fancy. Obviously, you might need to crop your images occasionally, and that's really useful. But the most useful things for me are different filters to give it all kind of a certain vibe that you can flow through a whole set of images, or in this case, you might have your TV ad, your radio ad, and your poster images all in a similar color theme. So you could make them all Dare or all Peony, for example, and play around with transparencies is really important. And just as much as possible, I'd recommend using their text combinations that go together quite nicely. Otherwise, if you muck around too willy-nilly with the font, then you get a really weird mixture. As you can see in this example, now we've got a weird blend of fonts that looks pretty odd. So now we're looking in Spark. So again, you're sort of thinking, all right, where is this image going to go? Will it be a Facebook ad, in which case you'll be writing in your written explanation all about the Facebook, who you're targeting with targeted ads and those sort of things. but we'll just pick Instagram story for an example. And similar to Canva, this will give us some templates, it'll give us some ideas. We'll be able to upload different options and different images to get us a really good idea. There's nothing really that I need to point out to you. There's a whole range of options that I think you can sort out for yourself and kind of make it all look pretty slick. But as always, I would suggest you start off with a template and then sort of work from there. And then of course you're just downloading and sharing once you're finished and giving it a bit more of a professional look. And that's pretty much all it is for Adobe Spark. It's an easy one.